Sexual abuse is inappropriate sexual behavior with a child and includes any inappropriate sexual touching. It includes fondling or exposing genitals, either the abuser's or the child's, intercourse, sexual exploitation, exposure to pornography, having a child view or listen to sexual activity, and allowing or encouraging a child to engage in prostitution. Warning signs of possible sexual abuse include extreme secrecy, compliance, or withdrawal, an unusual fear of people from one gender or with specific characteristics, such as a deep voice, very seductive behavior, unusual knowledge about sex for the student's age and development, and sexual play with peers that goes beyond curiosity. It's important to note that sexual curiosity and behaviors that are developmentally normal for pre-adolescent children are not sexual abuse. Situations with sexually active adolescents may have to be reported depending upon these three factors: whether the sexual activity is voluntary or involuntary, the age of the student, and whether the student has accessed health care services such as seeking out information about birth control. This complex topic is specifically addressed in the DPI webcast, Mandatory Reporting of Child Abuse and Neglect Supplemental Information, and the DPI publication, Reporting Requirements for Sexually Active Adolescents. Both of these resources can be found at this website. You can use these warning signs and the questions below to help determine if a report needs to be made. Has the student had sexual contact with another person? Has the student been exploited sexually in some way? Has the student been exposed to sexual content? Failure to give prescribed medication to a child is not considered to be child abuse or neglect unless it threatens the child's life or health. If a parent of a child with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder chooses not to give stimulant medication to that child, that is not likely to threaten the child's life or health. However, if a parent of a child who has been diagnosed with diabetes chooses to withhold insulin from that child's life or health could be threatened. Truancy is illegal, but it's not considered to be child abuse and neglect. If you have situations involving habitual truancy, you should follow the provisions in Wisconsin Statute 118.16. Self-injuries such as cutting or suicide threats are actions by the youth and not the parents, so they are not considered to be child abuse or neglect. However, failure by the parent to get necessary treatment that might be a reason to report suspected emotional damage. All school district employees must immediately report to County Child Protective Services or local law enforcement if they believe a child they have seen as part of their work has been abused or neglected or has been threatened with abuse or neglect and they believe it will occur. A report must be made to County Child Protective Services or local law enforcement. You should contact law enforcement when there is immediate danger to a student. A report must be made immediately by phone or in person. The law prohibits anyone who makes a report in good faith from being fired, disciplined, or otherwise discriminated against in regard to employment, or from being threatened with any such treatment. A reporter is protected from both civil and criminal liability. A report is to be kept confidential. The county, local law enforcement, and the school district may not share any identifying information about a school employee who makes a report. There are penalties for not reporting, a fine of up to $1,000 and up to 6 months in jail. Reports related to physical or sexual abuse must be made regardless of who, if anyone, is suspected of being involved. Reports related to neglect should be made only about a caregiver. Reports related to emotional damage should be made only if the parents are suspected of not seeking treatment that the student needs. It's common for someone to be unsure if a report should be made. It's okay to talk to someone else who can help determine if a report is necessary. Examples include a pupil services professional or school administrator. You could contact County Child Protective Services or local law enforcement. There is no need to mention names when talking to someone else who can help determine if a report is necessary. Talking to someone else may not delay a report. When you make a report, Child Protective Services will want to know information about the student, parents, suspected abuser, including names, addresses, relationships, phone number, student's date of birth, specifics about the observed injury, what the injury is, where is the injury on the student's body, any statements made by the student. They'll also want to know any prior concerns you may have about possible mistreatment of the student that may not have required a report at that time. And finally, relevant cultural context, if any. Be prepared to offer this information as well. Does the suspected perpetrator have access to the student? Do you have any concerns for the student's immediate safety? Does anyone else know about the suspected abuse or neglect? Are there other children in the household? If so, what are their ages? It's okay to ask the intake worker questions. For instance, what will happen next? You may wish to document your report, including the date, what you reported, what agency you reported to, and the name and contact information of the person you reported to. You can get more information at websites that are sponsored by the Department of Public Instruction and the Department of Children and Families. Or you can talk to someone from your county Department of Social Services. You could speak to a police school liaison officer or other local law enforcement officers, or school counselors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and administrators. In this webcast, we covered definitions of child abuse and neglect, warning signs, what is not child abuse or neglect, how to make a report, and what to report, what you can do if you are not sure if you need to make a report, and where to get more information. You may now print out a dated completion certificate from this website. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webcast and learning more about mandatory reporting of child abuse and neglect.